Hello, everyone, and welcome back to The Rundown. I will be your host today, Craig DeLuz, coming at you from the West Coast, the left coast, behind the Iron Curtain, otherwise known as the Sierras. And as we all know, I do not do this program by myself.
That's right. My name is Mike Piwowarski, coming to you live from the East Coast. That's the coast with the most, from the co-host with the most, here on The Rundown, 2A Views, Conservative News. Craig, guess what day it is?
Mike. What day is it, Mike?
It's hump day.
Hump day.
Hump day.
It's hump day.
Hump day.
Hump day.
That's right, folks. Today is Hump Day. It's the day in which we attempt to begin the weekend, sometimes with success, sometimes not. But as with most things, the fun is all in the trying. So how is your attempt to begin the weekend going thus far, my friend?
So far, so good. It's there's not a lot of beverages around, so we're just plowing through, doing what we need to do, knocking the work out. So we got the free weekend. Yep. So just working at it.
Excellent, sir. Excellent.
How about you?
Well, I assume all went well yesterday. We had a lot of fun talking about the Mr. Walz, the new vice presidential candidate for the Democratic Party. Before we get into all of the news.
Are you there? You kind of locked up on me, froze up on me for a moment.
My apologies, sir. Before we get into like today's news and whatnot, I wanted to get a general idea of how you felt about the Democrats' ticket.
It's a ticket for last place, right? How do they come up with Walz? Oh, they got Shapiro on the other hand that they can go with. They can go with the Eastern moderate, middle ground, Jewish. Be knocking the block out, right? You'd have West Coast covered, you'd have East Coast covered. All you got to worry about is the Florida alliance, and a little bit of the South, and they could have had it. No, who she get? Somebody just as bad as she is, somebody just as isolated as she is, somebody just as pigeonholed as she is. What's this going to attract? 30,000 votes from his state. What's that going to get?
Well, it's the biggest problem, Mike, is that it's not going to win her anything that she didn't already have. Minnesota,
right?
I mean, they're a liberal state. Let's just be honest.
Yeah.
They have Democrat supermajorities in both houses of their legislature. They elected him, who was supposed to be a moderate governor, but let's be honest, he's a far left, whacked out leftist. It doesn't win them anything. The only thing is here's what I think. Their appeal is he's an older looking white guy. So they want to put him next to Kamala, and they're hoping that low information voters will be dumb enough to think that, well, he's actually moderate. The problem is when you take a look at the numbers from his own state, even the moderates and the liberals and the conservatives in his own state don't fall for it.
Yeah, exactly. Now I'm looking forward to a Vance Walz debate. That'll be fun to watch.
Oh yeah, that will be very, very interesting. All right, well, now that we got that out of the way, let's go ahead and get into the rest of the news. But before we do, you know what we got to do? We got to first give a quick shout out to our sponsors.
Yep, let's say hi to our good friends at Hitman Industries. That's hitmanindustries.net. Got yourself an AR in the last 5 years, probably got one of their barrels and don't even know it. Now you can buy from them factory direct. Just go to hitmanindustries.net. California Republican Assembly, fight behind enemy lines. Now you could take part in California's future today. Make sure you check into California Republican Assembly. If you want the best in concealed tactical holsters on the market, get on over to Hog Holsters. That's HAWG holsters.com. Hogholsters.com. Use the discount code The Rundown. It's all one word, no spaces, all caps. Get yourself a nice little discount there. And if you're looking for field gear, outdoor gear, going hunting gear, going fishing gear, whatever it may be, going tactical gear, you can get everything except the gun at uscombatgear.com.
That's right, folks. These are our sponsors. They bring us to you so that we can bring you to them. Do us a favor. Do them a favor. Do yourself a favor. Visit their website. All you got to do is follow the links in the description to this program. Go there, check them out, spend some money with them, and make sure you tell them it was the guys over at The Rundown that sent you. Also want to encourage you, if you are watching the program live, that's at 3 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Eastern, on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, or Rumble, do us a favor. Go ahead and comment. Let us know what's up. Let us know what you think about today's program or maybe the topics that we're talking about. Go ahead and comment. I'll be monitoring the comments. Would love to share your thoughts with the rest of our viewers. And by the way, if you also haven't done so, please remember, like, share, subscribe, and encourage your friends to do the same. All right, now we will get into today's news stories, and we got a couple of doozies here. We're going to start with the very beginning. If you notice the title of today's program, we're basically, the mainstream media, it's kind of funny because there are things that are, right? And when Republicans notice these and they start to talk about these things in front of the media, it becomes the story. Not the thing, not the thing, the stupid thing that liberals do, not the fact that this ticket is the most leftist ticket in probably U.S. history. I'm going to stick with during my lifetime, which is, 55 years. Once again, the most leftist ticket, and that there are things that clearly need to be pointed out about how left-wing they are and about how wrong the members of this ticket are. But the story isn't what the Democrats have done wrong. The story is that the Republicans noticed, that the Republicans dare notice. And that's where this first story comes to. We talk about tearing down this Walz. And I got to tell you, that there's going to be stories. You know that there's going to be stuff coming out. This is a guy who had never run on a national stage before, had never been out on a national stage before. So you knew there was going to be something, right? I had no idea within the first 5 hours all the things that were going to come out about this guy. And my question then is, did the Democrats know this? Did they bother to take any time to do any vetting of this candidate? And yet the story, once again, with most of the mainstream media is, well, the Republicans, they're going after him. And I'll give you an example. These folks actually doing a very good job. These are the folks over at the Washington Free Beacon. They're a good conservative-leaning newspaper. But that's where I got the title of my first piece here, Tear Down This Walz. It says, last week, I urged Vice President Harris to select Minnesota Governor Tim Walz as her running mate. I estimated Walz's chance of selection as ranging between 0 and 0. It turns out that I was slightly off my estimate. Please don't turn me into PolitiFact. I confess. Despite the error of my estimate was based on Walz's record in office, that was the point of my column. Walz has been a monumentally bad and destructive governor. During his second term with DFL majorities in both houses, or Democrat majorities in both houses of the state legislature, Walz has governed in conformity with their wishes. He has spent an $18 billion surplus without a penny of tax relief and vastly increased the scope of an overweening and incompetent state government. He has raised taxes. He has left no stone unturned in his efforts to keep up with the party's progressive left. He does not extend Harris's reach even so much as an inch. And what's funny is the piece goes on to point out that as bad as he has been, right, and as bad as his record is, nobody will say anything. Nobody in the Democratic Party is saying anything about it. They refuse to point out the fact, Mike, that they, like California, are in the top 5 of states where people are fleeing from. Think about this, Mike. You have Harris from California. You have Walz from Minnesota. Both states that more people are leaving than going to in large numbers. Then you have J.D. Vance from Ohio, and you have Donald Trump from Florida. Both states governed by conservatives largely, where people are actually moving to in large numbers. Now, what does that say about, where people want to live and what sort of a government people want to live under?
Well, again, Craig, they want to live under not, California and not, Minnesota. However, that doesn't mean they're willing to stop voting for those principles or those ideals. They think that Democrats or the Democrat Party or Democrat socialists have the answers. They just don't want to be in the state that they're playing the game with, that they're trying to make sure these answers work. They don't want to be in a California or Minnesota where they're applying these democratic principles and watching those states go bankrupt and riots and people get killed and burned and murdered. However, not willing to stop voting that way, just willing to move someplace nicer.
Well, it's idiotic. It's like there's a disconnect between the decisions that their elected officials make and the outcome of their lives. And what they fail to understand is there's a direct correlation. There's a reason why California is too expensive for many people. There's a reason why they can't afford to live here and experience the American dream here. And it's largely related to the policies passed by the Democratic Party. And if they would just get a hold of that, they're like alcoholics who get a liver transplant and then don't quit drinking, right?
Oh,
Or smokers who get a lung transplant and keep on smoking.
That's crap right there, yeah.
So he's like, I need a drink and a smoke.
Yeah.
But it's at a certain point, you have to realize that you are the problem. That the people you keep putting in office are the problem. How about you change who you're putting in office?
They refuse to, and they don't want to. They know they can go, again, leave the crap holes and go someplace nicer with their money or with their principles and be okay. It doesn't matter to them.
Well, but the problem is that their children then wind up having to deal with the consequences of their decision, because oftentimes these policies, they're not always immediately destructive. I mean, we're seeing the immediate destructiveness of it now in places like California.
Yeah.
But when you move to a place like Texas or you move some other place and then you implement those policies, you probably don't see the actual effects for a generation. So their kids or their grandkids are the ones who are going to have to deal with it. And unless they learn the lesson that their parents or grandparents didn't learn, they're going to have to move again.
Well, I don't think they think their kids have to deal with it. I think they think that, well, the kids are part of our family. They'll be fine. It's like Democrat gun owners, Craig. When new gun legislation comes around, they all stand there and they support it. And you say, you got an opportunity to lose your gun over this. And they go, no, they're not talking about me. These laws aren't for me. They're for other people.
Well, it's idiotic. And the one thing I think that we have going for us, and this is, by the way, is the part that gets me the most, is you have instances once again where they keep saying, well, the problem is the people aren't noticing, or the people are the problem, right? How dare the people notice? One great example has to do with the economy. Now, there's a YouGov poll. YouGov poll says 63% say the economy is going badly under Biden-Harris administration. And the problem is that when you ask Democrats what's going wrong, they're like, there's nothing wrong with the economy. It's that people don't know that the economy is going well. And they keep pointing to the jobless numbers. They keep pointing to the stock market. Well, guess what? Now we're starting to see jobless numbers. Jobless numbers are starting to go up because companies are like, look, I can't afford to keep these guys because you keep pushing up minimum wage. You keep driving up my costs. And at the same time, you're starting to see, because that's happening, you're starting to see stock market sell-offs, meaning that, no, it's not going so well. And once again, the problem is that you have the media and the left. Once again, the problem is it's not that the economy is going bad. It's the Republicans are pointing out that the economy is going bad.
Yeah, and again, blaming the people for not realizing that the economy is not going bad, right? That's what it is. The economy's fine. Gee, people just don't realize it's fine, and Republicans keep telling them it's bad. Let's imagine that was something else, Craig, like, I don't know, a flood, right? And in your neighborhood was flooding, and the Democrats said, no, it's fine, and the people there were like, no, there's water in my house, and the Republicans are like, you need to get out, the water's coming, and Democrats are just sitting there going, no, that water's normal. You see, we get high water levels every once in a while, but it's perfectly within normal parameters.
And the media is reporting that the problem is that the Republicans are pointing out that the house is flooding.
Yeah, well, the media would say, Republicans flood town,
Right. The Republicans flooded the town by noticing that there was water coming in.
Yes. Yeah.
But that is the sort of doublespeak that we wind up having to fight against.
Yes.
They never actually point out the fact that, well, I mean, yeah, okay. I appreciate the fact that you're noticing that we're pointing this out, but the real story is the fact that they did it. And the one thing I would love for you to say is, I told you so. We told you
Yep.
so. If you would just listen to us and stop listening to them, then maybe our nation would be better off. And I think that's the reason why, whether you look at congressional polls, whether you look at senatorial polls, whether you look at the presidential polls, generic Republican right now is beating generic Democrat. And that is largely because the Democratic Party has gone they're so out of touch with the average person, right? The average middle income, I want to say 9 to 5, but who works 9 to 5 anymore these days?
Yeah.
Just to make ends meet, people are having to work longer hours. They don't get the fact that, yeah, okay, so what? Inflation has slowed down, meaning prices aren't going up as fast as they were. They're still going up, and they're still over almost 20% higher than they were when Biden took office.
Yep. Yeah, it's horrible. Again, we can talk about the numbers. You know my theory. Go to a fast food place. There you get to deal with the minimum wage hikes and the cost of living at the same place. Tell me there's no problems there. Tell me.
Well, there's a huge problem there, and once again, the sad part is that you can't get any of these guys to actually pay attention, to actually admit what's going on.
Because it doesn't affect them.
Nope.
They'll just go somewhere else if they have
will just
to.
go somewhere else, or they'll hand out money to people in order to get them to vote for them. So
that's right.
Right. Now this is an interesting one. So right now, one of the things that, and this was kind of a twofold, like a twofer. This story here is a twofer. So you've got, on one hand, you've got Tim Walz, who's a serious gun grabber, right? He believes in universal background checks. He believes in waiting periods. He believes in limiting magazine capacities. He believes in confiscating semi-automatic centerfire rifles. I mean, you name the gun grabbing policy, and he supports it. Now he brags about the fact that he used to be supported by the NRA. I think when he first got elected, when he first ran, and he thought, okay, well, I'm going to run as a moderate, that may have been the case. He may have been supportable, but no, that's actually not actually even close to where he is. What's happened is that he's actually once again become a straight up leftist. So now during a stump speech that he has done, he talks about, weapons of war, and he talks about how, he would, what's the word I'm looking for? He talked about how people should not be able to carry in America the weapon that he carried when he carried it into war. And this is the stump speech right here that he has given.
Hope woke up like many of you did 5 weeks ago and said, Dad, you're the only person I know who's in elected office. You need to stop what's happening with this. I'll take my kick in the butt for the NRA. I spent 25 years in the Army and I hunt. And I gave the money back, and I'll tell you what I have been doing. I've been voting for common sense legislation that protects the Second Amendment, but we can do background checks. We can do CDC research. We can make sure we don't have reciprocal carry among states, and we can make sure that those weapons of war that I carried in war is the only place where those weapons are at.
Now, in case you haven't heard, he's also now being accused, and there Republicans now have actually come out and are going after him. And well, let me clarify. Democrats are now declaring that, well, they're attacking him. They're not being nice to him, and they're going after him on his military record and claiming that the Republicans are tearing down Walz by going after his military record. Well, why are they going after his military record? Well, during his time in the National Guard, He never went to war. He never went to battle. And the one time where he was going to be called up and he would have to go to Iraq, he quit. He retired. He got out so that he wouldn't have to be deployed, which kind of basically means that, dude, you never really carried a weapon of war. And here they are talking about it over on CNN.
Walz did make a comment, speaking to a group, he's done it a couple of times, where he has used language that has suggested that he carried weapons in a fighting situation. As you know, with your contact with the military, I know from coming from a military family, there is a difference between being in a combat area, being involved at a time of war, and actually being in a position where people are shooting at you. There is no evidence that at any time Governor Walz was in a position of being shot at, and some of his language could easily be seen to suggest that he was. So that is absolutely false when he said that about gun rights out there.
Now, you notice the story isn't that he misrepresented his record in the military because, oh, by the way, he claims he retired at a rank that he didn't retire at. Not that he didn't have it, but he didn't finish all the paperwork or the academic requirements. But once again, the problem isn't that he did it. The problem is that Republicans noticed that he did it.
Yeah, just more of a hack. You know, there's certain things you avoid saying. As soldiers, you don't say, when I deployed to a war zone, if you didn't deploy to a war zone. That'd be like me saying, Craig, I visited Vietnam as a tourist last month, so now I'm telling everybody I was in the Nam. Yeah, I was in Vietnam, man. You don't mislead. Don't try and skirt the corners. If you didn't go to the box, you didn't go to the box. That's all there is to it. You got 25 years of good service. How you did 25 years without a deployment, I don't know. But you know what? Take your 25 years of service, sit on that. Quit trying to make up, more medals on your chest.
Yeah, he could have said weapons of war that I carried in the military, not that I carried in the war. It literally would have been that simple. I don't understand why you feel a need to say, to pretend. Why do you feel a need to pretend? It's like, don't you realize that, we can actually, fact check this stuff, that there are people who actually have the opportunity to check, to find out whether or not that happened?
Pretty weird, huh?
Right. Well, and what's
That's because
interesting
on the local and state level where he's run before, he's never had this level of background check before against him.
Well, but here's what's funny, Mike, is they're saying that they're saying the Republicans have brought this up again. Wait a minute. You mean he's been engaging in stolen valor all this time and got elected governor doing it?
Yep.
Look, just because the left-wing state of Minnesota lets you get away with it doesn't mean that America is going to let you get away with it.
That's
right. When members of his unit, the guy who had to take his place in Iraq, when he does an interview and he just lambasted dude, he's like, how do you run out on your folks? How do you just run out? These men are depending on you, and you just decided you just quit on them. I don't care if you decided to run for Congress. You know what? No, you were supposed to be there for your men. You be there for your men. Congress will be there when you get back.
Yeah, and I can't wait to see that portion of the date between Senator Vance and him. And Walz. That should be a good one.
Right, because this is a guy, J.D. Vance, who he signed up and he went to battle. He went to the field, right? Once again, I'll put it to you this way. I'm not sitting here saying that I'm any better than Walz. I've been into battle. No, because I haven't. But you know what? I didn't claim that I have either.
Yeah, and it's again. If he retired in 2005, joined in 1980. There's a couple other high deployment things there that he got out of somehow. So he's managed to keep out of harm's way for 24 years. That's quite a feat, by the way, Greg. Quite a feat.
That is definitely quite a feat. That is definitely quite a feat. Anyway, talking about another feat, or big feat, another member of the squad, well, we're going to be saying goodbye to her. That's right, Cori Bush, one of the other prominent members of the squad, has lost her congressional primary there in Missouri. And I got to tell you, Mike, it couldn't have happened to a nicer person. Squad member Cori Bush loses her Democratic primary in Missouri. Missouri Representative Cori Bush has lost her Democratic primary to St. Louis County Prosecutor Wesley Bell, securing another win for the same pro-Israel groups that helped oust New York Representative Jamal Bowman 6 weeks ago. Bush, a member of the House squad of progressive lawmakers like Bowman, was already earmarked for a tough primary in Missouri's 1st congressional district, which ended up being the second most expensive primary of the cycle, behind only Bowman's race in New York. Her fierce advocacy for a ceasefire in Gaza added fuel to her opponent's fire. And in similar fashion, Bush, despite the backing of progressive groups, local leaders, and top congressional Democrats, was unable to fend off Bell, who, like Bush, rose to prominence during the protests in Ferguson, Missouri, a decade ago, following the police killing of unarmed black teenager Michael Brown. All right. Now, mind you, this is from CNN, so that's the only reason why I read some of it the way that I did, because that's the way that was reported over at CNN. But I just wanted to get their perspective on her being removed. Now, Mike, let's be honest. This is what it came down to was this. She's an anti-Semite. She's anti-Jewish. She's anti-Israel. And groups decided they were going to spend money to oust her. Now, how do I put this? Unless she was doing a bang-up job, a great job. No, if she's doing a great job, no amount of money that you invest is going to be enough to get people to change their votes. The reality is the people of that district just didn't feel like she was taking care of them. And the opponent had enough money to tell people what she was doing, which wasn't take care of them, and then what she wasn't doing. And that's why she got the boot, just like Jamal Bowman.
Yeah, listen, I don't know anything about Bell. Bell's the woman that won in her place?
Wesley Bell, I think, is a guy.
Okay, Wesley Bell. Here's all I need to know about Wesley Bell. I'm going to give you what his whole campaign speech was, and I haven't looked it up at all. He goes, I bet you said, do you want somebody that's worried about you back here, or somebody that's worried about being on the squad and being famous up there in Washington? Boom. That's it. There you go. I just sold you on, I'm going to take care of you here instead of going off and living a life of glamour, being on the squad.
Right, because she's also, I mean, you name everything the squad was there for. Open borders. I mean, I'm quite sure that that her district probably was filled with people who were brought into the country illegally, allowed in the country illegally. I'm quite sure that they're all dealing with high prices and inflation. I'm sure the crime rate is high there in that area, there in Ferguson. All of that. And she didn't care about any of that. She was more cared about being woke, about doing and pushing the stuff that the folks over there on the left would have her to push.
Craig, bring that photo, the title photo, back up again there from the newspaper photo, or the article on the website. Okay, so you scrolled through it kind of fast, right? Now, everybody sees I occasionally got to put the reading glasses on, but when you scroll through it quick, the woman in the background that's wearing the mask, and just the shape of her hairstyle, I had to grab the glasses. I thought that was the Predator rolling through back there.
Oh, that's okay. I thought that was Reggie Bush, not Cori Bush.
I don't think Reggie Bush's jaw is as square as that.
No, probably not. Probably not. But you know, Mike, what I'll say is this: is that they are doing the Democratic Party is doing everything possible to turn away a constituency. The Jewish constituency, the Jewish votes overwhelmingly Democrat. And if you look at just every major elected official that's in an executive office throughout the country that is Jewish, or that is a high ranking in Congress, they're all Democrats.
Yeah.
Yet why do they seem insistent on taking this position as a party against Jews? I mean, supporting people who are calling for the extermination of Jews. Why? I just don't understand what their play is here. It makes absolutely no sense. It's going to be the death of their party, or at the very least, they're going to see some of their more progressive members get the boot like this. I don't feel bad for Cori Bush at all. It couldn't, like I said, it couldn't have happened to a nicer person, because a nicer person probably would have got reelected.
I don't get, not to get off too far in the tangent with the Democrats and Jewish Americans and Jewish people in America. I don't get it. This party continues to throw them under the bus, much the way they did with African Americans for years and years, making promises, taking their money, and Jewish people donate a lot of money towards the Democrat Party. But then when they come out and they say things like, they're pro-Palestine, but they clarify it, Craig, right? Oh, we're pro-Palestine, but also pro-Israel. We're pro-Israel as well. We're for all that. I mean, it's Craig, if they said, listen, we're for putting, we're all for victims' rights and the rights of rapists as well. No, it's one or the other. This is yin and yang. These are two diametrically opposed forces. You can't be for both. All right. You can be for peace, right? You can be for stop killing, but that's not what they're saying. They're saying they want a free Palestine and for Israel to be okay as well.
Well, and as a part of that, they keep offering up solutions that aren't real solutions. Like, I'm sorry, you keep talking about a two-state solution. Number one, there have been many offers of a two-state solution, and every single time it's been the Palestinians that have turned it down. But number two, how do you have a two-state solution where the state that will be right next to you has, as a part of their founding, as a part of their fundamental beliefs, that your nation doesn't have the right to exist, that they want to wipe you off the face of the planet? How is that okay?
And again, listen, you've got no two-state solution. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. What will happen, or what should happen, is you've got for those that haven't done the studies, the 7 kingdoms of Islam, right? And they're all out there. You got your Saudis, your Qataris, your Kuwaitis, all of these now separated into the seven tribes of Islam. Yet none of them, the kingdoms of Islam, none of them will allow the Palestinians to move in there. Hey, we got half our properties completely unoccupied. Want to move in here? No. See, you're the poor Muslims. We don't want you here. We want you to go somewhere else. This is the whole not in my backyard in Muslim countries. We don't want you here because you're dirty Muslims. You're not nice, good Muslims like we are.
Well, okay. In their defense, I will give them a little more credit than that in this respect. What they recognize is the exact same thing that's happened, is that if they allow them into their country, they are going to, basically, they're going to turn it into a terrorist state. And they're like, look,
okay, so
we've got pretty good monarchies going on here. We don't want you to turn us into a terrorist state and overthrow us.
Okay, hold on. All right, so let me clarify. All right, we don't need you to move into our country and move into my neighborhood. All right. How about we cut off 500 square miles in Jordan? How about Jordan and Syria to cut a chunk of land out between the two of them and make that Palestine? How about in Western Saudi Arabia, we give up 500 square miles of desert and make it its own country of Palestine and leave them alone? It's the desert. Nobody's living there now. Let them go live there in peace like they want to live. Nobody will do it.
No.
We want to take the land from Israel.
Yes. Well, once again, it's not even about taking the land. They don't want Israel to exist. It's got nothing to do with the land. They just want to kill all the Jews.
Yes.
I mean, let's be honest. Yep. That's what it really comes down to. It's like, if they killed all the Jews and just left the property as it is, they'd be fine with that.
Yeah. Yep.
That's what they
There
want.
goes the neighborhood. Yep. Yep.
That would make everything okay in their eyes. And I don't get why people on the left who support Israel don't get that. They should get that. It's not that hard. It's not that hard to understand.
Because they don't care.
Well, there you go. I think that's what it is right there. They really just don't care. And that is the unfortunate part of the whole thing, is that they really
What do you got going on
care.
there? You got something going on the screen there. What do you got going on?
Oh, whoa! Don't know why that came up.
Good thing your old porn or your other search history is not on there.
My other search history is wholesome, I will have you know.
That's right. That's right. Yeah.
All right, folks. Well, hey, that brings us to... Oh, we'll go back. Our parting shots. Parting shots are brought to you by Hog Holsters. Just go to hogholsters.com. Make sure you use discount code The Rundown. All caps, no spaces. Get your Hog Holster today. All right. Okay, let's see here. We're going to start off with... let's go over here. Now, Mike, we're now on day 18, in which Kamala Harris has been... It's been 18 days since she has been... become the de facto nominee for the Democratic Party. And she has not answered a single question or done a single interview, right?
Right.
On top of that, that's not even including the 3 weeks before that where she didn't do any. She's basically hiding out, which brings us to this parting shot on behalf of the Babylon Bee. It's a picture of her and Biden in a basement, and Biden is saying, oh, it says, oh, they got you. They got you in here too, huh? Says Biden as Dems lock Kamala in the basement.
Yep. Exactly right. That's what they're doing to her.
Yeah, I don't think they really want to give her a chance to be able to answer any questions, because or at least they're not doing anything that would lead you to believe that they want her to answer any questions.
No.
And what's funny about it, Mike, is that when she is out, and right now she gets to do all of these stage things, but you notice that there's this thing that she's been doing where she kind of has like a, that what they call it code switching, but she pretends to have like a Southern drawl. Well, now looking at our parting shots, I think people will recognize that this isn't just a Kamala Harris thing, but this kind of tends to be a Democrat thing.
And you all helped us win in 2020.
Why is she talking like that?
And we're going to do it again in 2024.
That's a lovely accent you have.
So I'm going to get into some business now.
You've got a great accent. Are you from here?
There's nothing wrong with working retail, folding clothes for other people to buy.
New Jersey?
I don't feel no ways tired. I come too far.
Some people, it's so ghetto.
There is nothing wrong with preparing the food that your neighbors will eat.
A ghetto mating call.
Nobody told me that the road would be easy.
You know those accents, they really get old fast. You know what I'm saying?
Or as my friend Quavo would say, he does not walk it like he talks it.
Can you do me a favor and just drop this stupid accent and talk to me for real, huh?
So we know it comes from somewhere, Mike.
Yeah, it comes from racism. It comes from Jim Crow. That's where it comes from.
There you go. By the way, almost forgot. Got another one here from. Excuse me. This was one that I debated whether or not I was going to use, and I always said this. Look, I'm not going to get into the whole is Kamala black? Is she not? Yada yada yada. But this one was too funny not to include. This is one of those Skeletor memes, so it tells you how good it is. It says here, Elon Musk is more African than Kamala Harris. Until we meet again.
It's true. He is.
That it is true.
Yep.
Anyway, that's a good one. And then finally, Tim Walz backs out a VP nomination after learning VPs sometimes have to deploy to dangerous places overseas.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Dude, look like you're in trouble, mate. Look like you're in trouble. All right, folks, so that brings us to the end of our program. But before we go, we got to do what you know we got to do, and that is give a quick shout out to our sponsors.
That's right. Hitman Industries, hitmanindustries.net. Rifle and pistol caliber barrels available. Any length you desire for your next AR rifle or pistol build. Check them out today at hitmanindustries.net. California Republican Assembly, fighting the good fight behind enemy lines. Now you can take part in California's future today. If you want the best in tactical gear, field gear, going to war gear, not deploy, you're getting the gear and not deploying gear, whatever you want, you can get it at uscombatgear.com.
That's right, folks. Please take a moment, visit our sponsors, and let them know that the guys over at The Rundown sent you. And with that, we're going to go ahead and call it a day. We very much appreciate you tuning in. We appreciate you liking and sharing the program and encouraging your friends to do the same. We will be back tomorrow, Throat Punch Thursday. Till then, y'all take care, stay safe, and if you get a chance, make sure to send a few downrange. Holler at you later.